And we are live. Hooray. Sorry,
Hi,
we're
friends.
just, no, we're not even late. It's actually still 7:30 where I am. So, 7:31.
That's
Anyway,
nice. Yep,
it's
right on
been a
time.
day. It's been a day. I've been forgetting things, which makes I forgot to turn off the notifications on my phone. Do not
Me
disturb.
too.
There we go.
Me too.
And it's just getting notifications that this live had started, actually, which is funny. But yeah, no, I feel like the fact that we were almost late is a perfect illustration of where we're at because, like I said, I made this broadcast and then I forgot to send Lynn the right link. So there you go. And she's messaging me and going, "Hello, where's my link?" Here's your link. I got it already, and then I didn't copy it and send it. Go figure. But
Right.
there it is. It's been that kind of day, and you know what? Everybody has. They even call them senior moments. Everybody has those moments. But tonight we're going to talk about some of our some of our favorite ways to try and make those senior moments a little less annoying, debilitating, sometimes even life threatening or even causing trouble. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day who, for some reason, parked by a hydrant for no apparent reason except that they didn't notice the hydrant was there. And thankfully, they actually didn't get a ticket or get towed, but they came back and they're like, ah, I parked by a hydrant. And they never park by hydrants. So it was just one of those moments of lapse of attention, if you will. So when this is something that happens as we get older, I mean, it's also something that happens if you have small children. I think there's a correlation, I mean, between the lack of sleep that you have when you have little ones and things that happen to your brain as you get older. What do you think, Lynn?
Absolutely. I know a lot of time it all centers around our sensory ability and how we put things together and how we view things. And there's a few things that certainly interrupt our focus, and anything from our diet, proper sleep, and
Hmm.
exercise. Those three things are imperative to physical and mental health.
Did you see my
Um,
notes?
Pardon me?
Did you see my notes?
No, no, no.
Excellent.
But
That's
it, it
exactly what I had. Yeah.
yeah, it significantly impacts our ability to focus and concentrate.
Mhm.
Mm. And it really isn't an age issue, um, not to counteract what you just said, because yes, as we age, our brain, becomes smaller, and the ability to focus and a brain fog is more prevalent. But also, if a child does not have the proper nutrition, they experience the exact same sensory issues that we do
Mm.
as adults. I find that pretty significant.
I think it's deprivation of some sort, regardless of what's causing it.
Absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
You could be
Mm,
right. And that's why supplementation can sometimes be important. But I think we'll talk about that later, maybe. Let's
yeah.
give let's talk about these things. So yeah, so I went and looked up Harvard Public Health. Agrees with you, Lynn. You'll be happy to know.
Okay.
So I found this article about ways to keep your mind sharp at any age. So, and yeah, and it's interesting because they show that the basic studies have shown that you can help prevent cognitive decline and reduce the risk of dementia with some basic good health habits.
Mhm, mhm,
And they
mhm.
mentioned staying physically active, getting enough sleep,
Active. Yeah.
not smoking, good nutrition, limiting alcohol. And what I found really interesting is like they also mentioned having good social connections. That's really interesting. And I think it's really important and
I
something
think
that
it's
we're talking
so
about.
true.
So you see a lot of people, especially people who are very focused on their career, when they retire, all of a sudden everything goes downhill, including their cognitive
Yeah.
abilities. And
Yeah.
I think part of that, I mean, part of it is the feeling that they have no purpose, etc. But I think a lot of it is just that they lose their social connections that they had at work. And if they were really focused on their career, they may not have lot of a lot of social connections outside of work. And so that can be something to really pay attention to if you're somebody who's really focused on a certain group, whether it's colleagues, maybe a particular, uh, maybe family, maybe a particular place of worship, so, or a sports team or something. Maybe try to diversify your social social connections a little bit, just because it's important to know that if for whatever reason you're not interacting a lot with someone that you with people that you used to interact with a lot, you might find yourself a little isolated, and that is really bad for your brain aside from anything else. Being socially isolated, as we found out in the last 2 years, being
Yeah.
socially isolated is really bad for your mental health and literally for your brain. So I thought that was something that's important to mention.
I recently did research on the effects of COVID and home confinement, and straight across the board, the majority percentage was it affected individuals exponentially in a multitudes of ways. But and also in reference to that, I thought was interesting. It was a morale issue. They were losing their confidence and their ability to communicate properly because the lack of socialization. And at the daycare, I've got a few children that are on the new roster that are COVID babies. They
Mhm.
never left the house. They communicated with absolutely no one other than mommy and daddy, and if there was a sibling. And I'm having more of a struggle with them
Yeah,
than I've had with any children because they're in shock.
and
Because
the schools are finding the same thing.
they're thrust into
Elementary
this
schools.
environment
Yeah.
they've never communicated before. And some of them really lack social skills, even at a very, very young age. So it's our job to help rectify this dilemma that is the result of a 2-year home confinement. But it
Yeah.
also has affected adults too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, loneliness, I think, was an epidemic already among older people. And
Of
of
course.
course, the actual pandemic didn't make that any better. Although, thankfully, hey, I'm in Winnipeg, you're on Cape Breton. Without these communications abilities, here we are chatting together with all these people. That is amazing. And by the way, I just wanted to thank the people who are watching us. We appreciate you. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking we should probably introduce ourselves, Lynn, because we
We
sort
didn't
of
do
assume
that.
that everybody knows who we are. But just really quickly, I'm
Yeah.
Das. I live in Winnipeg, and I am a life coach and a well-being advocate. And I love helping. Lately, I've gone all silver, and that has become my focus: is helping people with silver hair or hair that would be silver if they let it, um, age with vigor and dignity. And I do this by helping them with what they feed, their bodies, their minds, their spirits. So that's what I do in a nutshell. Lynn, you want to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm Lynn Day. I live in Cape Breton Island, and that's in Atlantic Canada. I'm a hardcore brick and mortar entrepreneur, and I'm in the middle of building another one. But I am really enjoying the social aspect of retail, social marketing, or network marketing that we are experiencing, and has exploded because of COVID. And also, I'm back in school. I'm a personal trainer, and now I'm getting my certification for bodybuilding and transformation specialist. So I'm really excited about that.
That is exciting. So when's your
Yes.
next show?
Show as in,
Bodybuilding.
well, I'm working on hopefully competing next year. It's going to take, I was on my way, but we had some interruption, but you pick it up back up again and keep going. So
Absolutely.
I hope to compete in a year.
I am so impressed by people who do bodybuilding. I like lifting, but yeah, bodybuilding, not so much. Not for me, but I'll lift.
Yeah, it's intricate.
That's what I like. All right, so we were talking about memory and attention and just generally the cognitive decline that can happen to people if they don't take good care of themselves.
Yeah.
As they get older. And I said a lot of people. So the same article from Harvard Public Health, it was really interesting because then they talked about different things that you can do to avoid this problem, and they'd mentioned, exercise and so on, but it was like things like, use your mind, go back to school, for example, like you're doing, Lyn. And I've been taking all sorts of online classes and so on because, use it or lose it. So
absolutely.
That's really important. But what I thought was really interesting, there were like all sorts of suggestions and so on. But a really exciting one to me was this: it said that believe in yourself. Like basically, if you think that because you're getting older, you should be in decline, you will be. Like there was an article in our local paper about women in their 60s and 70s who are power lifters, and it was just so inspiring. And one of them was like, I just don't want to, I don't believe I need to get weak and, because I'm older. And, a lot of people just assume they're going to lose all their strength. They're going to lose all their marbles. They're going to end up in a rocking chair. You don't have to. It's not inevitable.
Yeah, that's choice.
But, if people create this image of themselves and they're like, they're old, they're useless, they're going to die soon. Like I took my daughter to the passport office today, and here in Canada, you can get 5-year passport or you can get a 10-year passport. And the 10-year passport doesn't cost twice as much as a 5-year passport. So like, why? I asked the person, I said, who gets a 5-year passport? Doesn't everybody get a 10-year passport? It's not much more money and it's twice the time. And she said, well, I have some old people come in and they don't think they're going to live for 10 years. Seriously? You're getting a passport, but you think you're only going to be good for 5 years.
Based on your age. Well.
Oh, she had somebody come in, he was in his 70s. And he got a 5-year passport. And I was like,
yeah.
And the other thing is, she said sometimes like young women who think they're going to change their name or whatever. I don't know. You can change the name on your passport. You don't actually have to get a 5-year passport for that reason. If you're going to change your name, you also don't have to change your name. PSA, you don't have to change your name. But just the idea that people come in with the idea that they are going to die. And I mean, we're all going to die, but we don't have to die soon.
We don't have to dwell on it.
And we don't have to live our lives in the anticipation of decline.
Yes.
There's this concept of compressed morbidity that basically that you only like get sick when you're really, really old, just before you die. And you're not sick for a long time. That seems like ideal to me, like strong and healthy and active and vigorous, right up until, I don't know, 90s, 100s, whatever. And then you get sick for a short time and then you die.
Yep.
Sounds about right to me.
It sounds all right to me too. And I hope it's in my sleep.
Sorry, we got a little morbid here, but you know what? That's the other thing about getting older is that you just talk about these things because,
Well, it's reality. And there's this picture going around and it's a side by side. And one is of the female bodybuilder. Her last name is Shepherd. She's 85, drop dead gorgeous. And then there's another lady that's in a wheelchair that's really allowed herself to age. And she's decrepit. She can't walk. She can't do any of it. And they're both the same age.
Yeah,
That's choice.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yes, and it's heart-wrenching because it's almost a waste of life and energy that other individuals can benefit from, eh?
Yeah, to be fair, I don't want to be ableist here in the sense that, things do happen to people.
They do?
People do get, autoimmune diseases and all sorts of chronic things. And especially with long COVID going around, there's a lot of people that
It's
it's not
true.
a choice. It's going to take them a long time to get better and maybe they won't. So I just want to be clear that we're not blaming the victim here. We're not being ableist in that respect. All of that having been said, do what you can with what you have.
To
Okay.
remain
You don't
healthy.
have to
Yeah.
be a bodybuilder at 85. You really don't. And if you're in a wheelchair, you're in a wheelchair. I know 17-year-olds who are in wheelchairs.
Yes.
Thank God for, for wheelchairs for people who need them. And accessibility is huge. And there should be, ramps and accessibility everywhere. Just wanted to be really, really clear that we're not saying that, like, just, exercise and you'll never end up in a wheelchair. Not saying that. You could also be hit by a bus tomorrow and, God forbid, end up in a wheelchair. So just saying that I don't want to be ableist and disability rights are very important. All of that having been said, you don't have to let it just happen to you. What happens, happens. What do you do with the hands that you're dealt? That is the question.
Hmm.
Do you try to make the best of what you have? And I think that's an important point because, like I said, sometimes people, just they get this image of themselves in their minds that they're done with, and then they are, and they don't have to
And
be,
they give in. Yes.
and they don't have to be.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not talking about somebody who is actually disabled. I'm talking about people who make themselves because they think that that's what they should do. They're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm retired. I'm in my 60s. I'm in my 70s. I should just get old and die. And yeah,
We
we're
live,
all going to do that eventually, but there are things we can do to make the journey.
yeah, we live in a different time too. Like the entire world thinks differently than they did 40 years ago, 60 years ago. It's really become much more health conscious at various levels of degree. But that's not only like our lifestyle issues, which all of us suffer from, that can in itself start affecting us, and we can decline because of that. But it doesn't mean we have to grow old, but we can decline, and it can last a period of time, and then you pick yourself up or you find a remedy, or you get back up on your feet again and you just brush off the dirt and keep going. But the main lifestyle issues that are affecting people today, that is affecting their focus and their memory and their concentration, is number one is stress. And then you've got fatigue and poor sleep, dehydration. That in itself, I heard a gal the other day. One of my parents is a neonatal nurse, and the mother went into false labor because she was dehydrated. The baby started contracting. So dehydration can really affect our body. An unhealthy diet is imperative that we change that. And then, you know what? Sedentary behavior, not being active. In activity can be anything from walking, reading, socializing, taking on a project, painting, drawing, whatever. But all of those things create the situation of declining focus.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, and getting back to nutrition, I mean, older
Mm.
people need more protein and they don't always realize that.
Yes.
And it's not always that easy to get enough protein from your diet when you get older. And so supplementation can be important. And this thing, it's so cool. I mean, I just got it. It's a nootropic elixir. It's supposed to help your brain be more focused. I just got it. I can't wait to see what
Yeah.
else. Maybe I'll stop, misplacing my keys and forgetting to send you the link. And
Yes.
looking forward to that. I mean, I used to have a memory like a steel trap in my 20s, and then I had 3 kids, and that'll destroy anybody's brain.
Yeah.
But we do what we
Interesting.
can.
Interesting. The name of it, nootropics. It's broken in two, as in noose, N-O-U-S, noose, trop.
No, no,
Yes.
Nootropic. There's no S.
Right, but it's taken from the word
I don't know.
nootropics. It's taken from those two words, noose and trop. So I found that quite interesting that they've tied those two words of mind and turning into the full word of nootropics.
Hmm.
The company that created the product certainly put a lot of thought into that.
Oh, did you know that like Adderall and Ritalin are nootropics?
I didn't know that.
I'm just looking at a article, and they're prescription nootropics. Obviously, that's not what we're talking about here.
Right, right.
Wow.
But a person can find themselves also, you're going along and things just don't feel right. They're not coming together. It's like, why can't I concentrate? What's wrong with my thinking ability? And we call that a brain fog.
Yeah.
It can be characterized by confusion, forgetfulness, your lack of focus or mental clarity. So we're all struck with this because of the lifestyle that we live today. People are busy and they've got
I
a lot
know. Yeah.
on their plates today. It can be
I
caused
know.
overworking can do that. And who isn't overworking today?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of the things that people talk about when they're going through menopause is that the brain fog.
brain fog. Yes, right.
And that's hormonal. I was just looking at that article about nootropics. You know what else are nootropics? Obviously not prescription. Caffeine.
You say caffeine?
Yeah, and omega 3s.
Interesting.
I take a bunch of omega 3s. I should have better mental acuity. I mean, actually, I use them mostly to prevent inflammation, but it's good to know that they're good for the brain too.
You're pretty quick, I have to say.
I'm surprised. So anyway, so this one that we just got actually has got. I was looking at the ingredients, and it's got things like beetroot and see, now I've forgotten. And it has green tea in it, and I think some sort of yeah. I don't know. I've forgotten.
Mhm.
But
No,
it's all natural. It's not prescription for sure. It's just a supplement. But I'm
yes,
excited to try it.
the results, what I'm reading, the results from it is pretty dynamic.
Yeah, they've done clinical trials on them.
Yeah. The thing is that it's to sustain cognitive function. The nutrients and the botanical extracts are put together in a way to support the proper functioning of the way we think, the way thinking ability. But um, something that I find interesting, and I'm sure everybody can be guilty of this, is spending way too much time on the computer.
Hmm.
And especially if we are in social retail,
Yeah, we're
we're
going to
on.
spend a lot of time. Well, one thing we can do: blue blockers.
Pardon me?
Blue blockers.
Okay. Oh,
I got a big pair because it goes over my glasses. Otherwise, I won't be able to see the screen.
I thought those were your glasses. I think they're really cool.
No, these are my glasses. See my glasses?
Oh, I thought
And
I
then
see
these
you.
are blue blockers that in the evening, I put them over my glasses if I'm
Oh, I
making a
thought she's got a
video.
cool pair of glasses. I gotta get some.
I'll let you know later where they're from. But so that's one thing we can do in the evening is
Interesting.
to block I mean, my phone actually automatically changes itself to a yellow color in the evening. You can set your phone to do that
I didn't know that. I
so
didn't
that
know.
you get less blue light.
Hmm.
Um, I think you might be able to do it with the screen as well, but I like the cool blue blockers. So I use those
Yeah, they look
instead.
pretty. Yeah.
Instead of changing, but you can actually change your screen. But I mean, the blue blockers, like, I mean, I also have lights right now, especially because we're doing this video and just generally the lights in the house and so on have more blue in them than is natural.
Right.
So the thing is that our brain takes that blue light information and decides that it's not bedtime because there's blue light out there, so it must be daytime. And yeah, really, that's how the blue light interferes with from the screens interferes with our sleep. Is our brain decides that it can't be bedtime because it's light, because it's blue. So when the sun goes down, the light outside turns orange and red and yellow,
Yes.
and it's less blue. And if we spend and then we spend the evening staring at screens that are inundating us with blue light, or even just the lights in our houses that have blue light, then
Yes.
it completely messes up our sleep. So, as part of my campaign to get better and more sleep, I've been wearing these blue blockers. So, we'll see if that helps.
Well, your blue blockers are very cool.
Yeah, there we go. I need to make some videos after, so maybe I'll make them wearing my cool blue blockers.
Good, good, good. So we need, to enhance our focus, to build on our memory, we need to have better sleep. What are your sleep habits like, Hadass?
Well, do you want my aspirational ones or my actual ones?
Your actual. We're always reaching for something.
Well, one thing I've been doing is, like I said, trying to get to bed earlier, using the blue blockers so that I will actually get sleepy. Get off the screens at a certain time. I mean, one thing about getting older, you forget things, right? So my phone is full of reminders. And one of them that pops up is get off the screens, so then I'm supposed to
Interesting.
get
Yeah.
off the screens then because, and then I'll, spend a little time actually reading a book just to calm things down there. And I use essential oils like lavender and frankincense. I'll diffuse them and I'll put them on the soles of my feet and under my ears.
Okay.
You do, Lynn?
I'm terrible for sleep because I've always lived on about 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
That's not good.
Nope, and it's been a lifetime habit. And then I wake up probably every hour. It's like, what now? What now? Or there's just lots to think about, especially if I have children coming in early because I open up very early also. So when I'm really trying to make it good, make my sleep better, I should say, is I try to
Ah,
get to bed around 11.
did I lose you? There you are. Okay.
Pardon?
My connection here was a little
Oh,
off.
but something I do use is sleep spray under my tongue. I find
Hmm.
that fantastic.
I do like the sleep spray.
Yeah. And then I have an app that is called Sleepiness, and she will walk you through relaxing your body. And then by the time she's gotten in about 3 minutes, I'm done. I'm gone. She's
Okay.
talking to somebody else.
Well, another of the things that I do in terms of sleep hygiene is to not have my phone in the bedroom
Oh, I do
because
it.
I will check it. I know myself. I will check it. The few times that I've had to have it in my room for whatever reason, it's been really hard to not just, oh, I wonder what. No.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, so I put it to charge in my office before I go to bed so that I actually cannot reach it. And sometimes I've thought about that in terms of, apps that talk to you and so on. Because I mean, I've looked at, all sorts of like Calm and I mean, I use Headspace in the morning for meditation, but I've, in terms of trying to get better sleep, I've tried to use that at night. And then I was like, I'm just not bringing it into the bedroom. So,
Right.
so I don't
Well,
do that.
it knocks you right out for sleep. I love it. I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. I need to stay asleep too. That's the next thing. I mean,
Right.
also as you get older, I don't know if your bladder gets smaller or if it's just adrenal activation that makes you think you need to pee several times in the night. But
True.
I'm like, I don't know. When I was pregnant, I could understand it. You get that pressure on your bladder. But when you're in your 60s, you should be able to sleep through the night. And yet very often we don't. So maybe we should do a different video on that, because look at that, we've been talking over half an hour now.
Really? Wow, time goes by fast.
31 minutes.
Yeah. You know what? That's a great one to talk about too. Proper sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good. Not that I can say I'd be a good advocate for any of it. Maybe I'll learn something.
Well, I've been working on my sleep for a long time because it is a problem, and if I get stressed or whatever, it's problematic. So
Right.
yeah, sleep is definitely something we can talk about. But
fantastic. I've enjoyed this.
Thank our viewers live and on the replay.
Yep.
Very much appreciate you. Feel free to drop a comment, drop us a message with the thoughts that you have on what we've been talking about, and we will see you again next week on Tuesday. Wild Hair Talk with Lyn and Hadass with our wild hair.
Have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.